A very good morning everyone. As a continuation to our previous video on Google Forms, now let us see how to create a quiz using Google Forms. Now if you see here, I have already created a Google form and I've asked the following questions. I've asked the name and I have two multi-choice questions here. This is the first question, this is the second question, and then I have created a question of the type drop down, and this question I've typed of checkbox. You can enter any type of questions that you want. So this is the normal Google form that we usually do. Now let us see how to convert this into a quiz. To convert the Google form into a quiz, go to the top right corner. We can see the settings option here. So click on settings, and these are the default options that we saw in Google form. Whether you want to collect the email address, I want to limit to one response. Yes, I'll enable this. And under presentation, let us show the progress bar. Whether we want to shuffle the questions, yes, let us shuffle. And confirmation message, let me type as you have taken the test. And quizzes, this is the field that we have to see now. So to make the Google form into a quiz, this will by default be off. So you need to enable this to make the Google form into a quiz. And after enabling, we have two more settings to see. Whether to release the marks immediately after the student submits the form, or you want to manually grade the form and then later give it to the students. If your form contains only multi-choice questions, checkbox questions where the students have to just choose, then we can give immediately after each submission. But if you give questions of paragraph type answers or short questions, it is always better to give manual review, because paragraph type answers, it is not easy to grade in Google Forms. It does not have that automatic detection. So each student might answer a question. The perception of a student might vary. So any exam or any Google quiz involving paragraph and short answer, go for manual review. If it contains only choices from where students are going to select, we can give immediately after each submission. And I want the students to see which questions he has missed. I don't want to see the correct answers for now, because one student might disclose the correct answer to another student. That will not be good. So I'm disabling this option, and I'll give point values like how much marks have been allotted for each and every question. After setting up this particular page, let us save this. Now in addition to name, I want to ask the registration number also for the student. So let me add one more thing. I'll type this to be a short answer. So I'm going to ask the register number of the students. I'll make this field mandatory, and I'm going to make this quiz only for my class containing just 30 students, for example. And the 30 students have roll numbers between 1 to 30. So I'm going to make this quiz for numbers where the students' numbers are only between 1 and 30. So only if the student enters a number, registration number between 1 and 30, he can take up this particular test. Other students cannot take up this quiz. That is the use of making this type of a setting. Now let us come to the next question. When you click on this, if you make a Google form as a quiz, we can see an additional option that is not present in Google form, but this is present in the quiz. We can see an answer key option here. So click on this answer key. After clicking, out of these four, which is the correct answer? Click on this correct answer, and I'm going to allot 1 point for this. Let's click on done. Come to the next question. Let us click on the question. Now we need to keep the key for this, the answer key. The correct answer is, I choose T cell, and for this question I allot 1 marks, and I click on done. So till now we have made a form of totally 2 points. Let us go further for the next questions. I click on answer key. The correct answer is yes, and let me give 1 point for this. Click on done. And the last question, once again click on answer key. So here there are more than one right answer because we have made this to be a checkbox question. So wearing masks is right and washing hands frequency is right. Let me allot 2 points for this. and I click on done. So we have made up the Google form in Google Quiz. Let us see what else more we can do in this. Now at the end of each question there's a required field, which means the student has to attend the question mandatorily. After this we can see three dots. When you click on this dot, there are various options that are available. So if you see, there is an option called as shuffle option order. So if you want to enable this, then for each and every student, this option gets mixed up. For one student, it might be in this order. For the next student, the order within the options might be changed. So this is also preferable when we give examinations for students. So let me enable shuffling of options for all the questions, so that students, even though it's easy to copy, they might find a little bit tricky to copy in the examinations. And yes, that's it. We have set up the form. So let me preview this form. So the settings I've made such that we can do it only once. Let me try changing the settings and preview. Let me preview this form now. Yes, this is how the form appears to the student. So let me try taking up this test and we will see whether the marks are getting displayed. So for this, monkeys is the right answer. So we have given the registration number must be between 1 to 30. For example, I type some other number. It says that the number has to be between 1 and 30. So let me type some other number. So this was a drop down type question. Let me answer this wrongly purposely. I'll give some name A, B, C, D and precautions to be taken. I'll just make one option right and we will see what happens. Let me give submit. Let us view the score. So I've got just 2 marks out of 5. So if you see, this answer is right, this answer is right, this I've just given 0. But if you see for the last question, even though I've marked one option correctly, it has given 0 for me. For these type of questions, it is possible for us to manually give marks for the students. So let us go back to this form. My response would have been recorded in the response column. So whichever student has taken up the test, that will appear in this response column. Let me go to the individual students. So I gave the name as ABCD and I'll come to this question. So this was the correct answer. I can allot 1 out of 2 marks for it. Even though one option has been chosen frequently, the form just gave 0 for it. So I'm just giving 1 since the user had selected only one option as right. And this will be actually automatically saved. Now if you go back to the form and reload, we will see whether the points changes here. I'll reload this. Yes, so whatever manually we graded there, it appears directly for the students. So if in case any options have been selected by the student but marks was not given, it is possible for us to come to the responses tab and give marks manually. This is possible in Google. So this form contains only multi-choice questions, so we made the students to view the score automatically. For example, I add one more question here as a short answer text. So I give this as, what do you know about COVID-19? I'll give this as a short answer. I do not add an answer key here, or we can just add important points. It has originated from China. I'll just enter this as one of the answer feedback and I give 2 marks for this because this is a short answer, and I'll make this field required. So in the problem in this is, if the student answers other than this one, it will mark it as wrong even though the student has expressed some other option that can be right. For example, I can write that this virus spreads because of shaking hands or being close to each other, etc. That is a right answer, but if the answer is other than what we gave here, the Google form thinks it to be wrong and awards 0 marks. In such cases, we go to settings, we go to quiz. I'm not going to immediately release the mark, I'm going to give it after manual review. So only after we check this short answer question, the marks will be released to the students. So let us save this. Now when you change that option, what we can see here is the form starts to collect the email address. Why the email address is collected is, if we award the marks manually, the marks will be sent to the email address which the student enters here. So every time we make a manual mark or manual grading, the email address will be automatically collected by the Google form. Fine. Now let us preview this form. So this is how the form appears. We will try taking this form. We'll try taking this exam. For example, I give abc@gmail.com. Yes. Social distancing. I just type some random answers. Registration number and type 25. I choose this. I choose this. I give my name. I give something. Let me submit. So here if you see, in the previous Google form we released the mark immediately, so we had the option as view score. But since here we enabled manual grading, the score will not be released to the student. Instead, we will be having the responses here. So we can go to the individual response. We can allot the marks. For multi-choice, it has been automatically graded. But if you see for the short answer, it shows wrong. So I can allot 1 mark manually. And if I click on the release score on the top, a mail will be sent to the particular student. So I can select to whom I want to send, and if I click send email, the mark will be sent to the particular student. So this is how we do manual grading using Google Forms. So if we choose fully multi-choice questions, we can release the scores immediately because it is just choosing one right answer. Whereas when I give short answer type questions or paragraph type questions, it is always better to go for manual grading. And once we grade, since the form collects email address, we can click on this release score at the top and we can send email to the particular student regarding the marks that he has got. So this is how we create quiz using a Google form. Any doubts, you can mail me or you can ask me in Telegram. Thank you.